Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed.
Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going.
Tuesday, gotta get down on Tuesday. It's Rebecca Green, Kuyava.
Yeah, it is. Good job. Oh, it's Tuesday, and we're so glad you're here. Maybe it's Tuesday. I don't know if it's your Tuesday. It's our Tuesday. But today we are sharing, well, I am sharing the most important thing I've learned in my career transition from educator, full-time classroom educator, to edtech marketer. And I think that this is useful information for anyone who's going to be transitioning into a new job or a new career. So stay tuned for that in just a minute.
I'm so excited.
Love it.
But before we do that, she's the Chrome to my Netscape. It's Caitlin.
Netscape. Sad day. Whatever happened? That doesn't matter. Anyway, that's Jenny, my beautiful barrel of monkeys and kindness.
Oh man. So we'll talk more about my birthday later, but I will tell you that one of the ways I celebrate my birthday is I normally make all the kids stand up and say something nice about me.
That's amazing.
Yes. And I give them time to prepare. I'm like, you only have to say one nice thing and you can think about it. And I said, this is a great gift you can give to anyone on their birthday is say something nice about them.
Yep. It's free.
And one year a kid said to me, Miss GK, you're G good and K kind.
Oh, that's a cute one.
I was like, oh, you're so sweet. So I'm barrel monkey and kindness.
I love that. I had one kid, I used to I always say my last name is Kindred, like kindred spirits. I've always said that.
Yes.
And one kid goes, it's Kindred, like kind and red, because she's nice and has red hair. And I was just like, yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
So sweet. I loved that one. But kindness matters. All right, let's move on. Let's get into this topic, which is what's the most important thing I've learned in my career transition. I think we've talked about this a little bit when we did some stuff on resumes and cover letters and stuff.
Right.
And we've shared some tips for the logistical process of that in the past. So look for those episodes. I don't remember the numbers, but it's all about resumes and cover letters and stuff. But in May of 2021, I walked out of my classroom for the very last time. And the goal was to pursue a career outside of teaching. And we don't need to get into the logistics of or the weeds of why.
That's almost 3 years ago.
I know. It's wild.
Time flies.
It really does. It really does. If you're
sorry, I
know.
sound old here, but I can't believe that this was that long ago.
I actually,
it feels like just yesterday.
Yeah, I actually just had my 2-year anniversary at my company this past week.
Jeez. All right, continue on.
So no, it's okay. And again, we don't need to get down into the weeds of why. That's not really the point of this, but there.
I don't think anyone needs to know the weeds of why someone would leave teaching.
Well, it was more complicated.
This is not a secret.
Right. No, it was more complicated than the usual no one gets paid enough in teaching and the politics are a mess, right? It was way more complicated.
There's more than that.
There's more to it. And you know the story because you were there. But
yes, but those are definitely factors for anyone choosing to walk out of a school for the last time.
Yeah. Let's just say this. It's never the kids that make you leave.
Oh, absolutely not. It's the principal telling you, Miss Green, you make the kids too happy, and happy kids are hard to control.
Not in my classroom, they're not, but okay.
First off, why do you need to control children?
No.
Secondly, happy people are good people.
Right.
I went upstairs back to my classroom, called my then fiance and said, I hope you're willing to support me financially because I'm quitting this job and I don't know what I'm going to do next.
Right.
I don't have a contract with another school, but I am not coming back to this one.
No, I right now I'm hearing Elle Woods say like, endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's
okay. So anyhow,
here's
2021.
Right. Here's what I've learned. Okay. And if you are an educator and you are a transitioning educator, meaning transitioning teachers, you're trying to get yourself out of the classroom. The good news is, if you are an educator, this is something that you already know. Okay. Vocabulary matters. You and I have said this over and over and over again. Vocabulary matters. It is the entry point into all new learning. Okay. And as a teacher, one of the things I always did every time before I started any new learning, didn't matter if I was teaching math or history or geography, when I was teaching all of those subjects, or when I was teaching writing, I always started each new bit of content with a vocabulary lesson. When I was teaching math, I would teach them day by day, right? Before we get into this topic, here's vocabulary you need to know, and we're going to define it right now. And then I'm going to use those words in the notes we're going to take, and then we're going to say those words over and over again as we do our practicing. We're not going to say, I did the dividing thingy. No. We're going to say, I determined that this is the dividend and this is the divisor and here is my quotient. We're going to use our vocabulary, okay?
Yes. I have second graders who use the term multiplicative association correctly in context.
Because they know what the word
ask them to.
means, and you tell them to use
and we say, this thing that you did where you switched it, the switching, that's called multiplicative association. Say that with me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Next time you do it, we're going to label it that way.
Exactly. So my advice to anyone who is a transitioning teacher, or really anyone who's looking to change jobs or careers, this is particularly important if you're looking to change careers and you're not just shifting to a new position inside of your current organization.
Same industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Write down every single new word you come across. Okay? Every single one. It doesn't have to be a word necessarily. It could be some kind of crazy acronym you've never seen before. Every time you see a foreign word, foreign combination of letters, write it down and make a running list of these terms. And maybe you'll be able to define them in that moment. Maybe it gets defined for you in context. But if it doesn't, go and figure out what the word means. Just like you would for your students, when you gave them what multiplicative association was, when you said that word, you have to tell them what it means, right? Go do that. And then look at that definition and put it in your own words. Okay? Like, just as an example, ROI. This is a term that is used largely in the outside of the public education sector, right? Return on investment. Put that in your own words. This is what you get when you spend this money. Is it worth it? It's okay to put that in your own words and say it just like that. This definition is for you. Doesn't matter. You're not sharing it with someone. It's fine. Okay? And then find an example or draw a picture or find a picture online and embed it or something. I cannot recommend this example picture thing enough because it gives you the context for how that term is used. Right?
I do this with my 5-year-old who is learning to read.
Yes.
I will make him a checklist of what he needs to pack in his suitcase.
Yes.
And I will write the words.
Yes.
Now, there are icons next to the words.
Right.
But there's no reason why he can't have the word socks on a checklist if I also draw a pair of socks.
Right.
Expose them to the language. Expose yourself, right? Like, do this doodle, make a hand motion, whatever it is that helps you remember. Delta is the mouth of a river. I had a 4th grader who pulled his fingers in his mouth and stretched it out as far as it would go. And that's how he remembered Delta is the mouth of a river.
It does look like a triangle kind of when you do that too. I like it.
Yeah.
Listen,
See?
This is going to sound crass, but it worked for Helen Keller, right? Like you put her hand under some water and all of a sudden she was like, oh, that's what water is. Put a picture there. Put an example there of what the word is, because otherwise it doesn't all click together. If you would do it for your students, do it for yourself. Okay?
I love that.
Yeah. When you are in it, when you're in the weeds of what you're learning or your new job or you're trying to write your resume or whatever, keep that list up in front of you. Mine is always available. It's not necessarily always open because now I'm 2 years in. But
you have like a whole program for it, don't you?
Yeah, I use Notion.
Isn't there like a web tool? Yes, that's right.
I use Notion for it. Yeah. And I just have a list of a table and I put in new words at the top, and we'll get to that in just a second. But refer back to that list. Nope. Like I cannot say that enough, because you're going to see that word and you're going to be like, wait, which one is that again? And you're going to want to make sure you know which one it is. Okay. And then as a transitioning teacher, you're going to look for opportunities to use that word in context. Okay. Just like you with your second graders, telling them that this is the word that they're going to use, multiplicative association, you're going to encourage yourself to now say, oh, well, I did some calculations and I determined that the ROI on this would be blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Right.
So you have to practice it just like you would make your kids practice it. You have to practice it too. Okay. So I'm just going to go into a little bit of the value of this. As someone who's now been in this career for, again, 2 years, I keep my list sorted by most recent. Like I just add new words to the top of my list that I can see the newest one and try to commit that to memory as often as possible. Okay. The other day I scrolled through my list and there are over 300 rows.
Wow. Okay, so here is something that we've been studying at my school. And, you know, those of you who are regular listeners, you know that I work at an education research facility where we do teach, but we also study teaching and learning. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we've been talking a lot about is language acquisition, because we've noticed that some of our more experienced and older learners are not as interested in learning elevated vocabulary as some of our younger learners.
That's interesting.
And well, the hypothesis on the table right now is when you are learning to speak and you're 1, 2, 3 years old, you are acquiring somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 new words per day.
Wild.
And adults sometimes learn 1 or 2 new words a week.
Right.
And so what we're seeing is not an aversion to learning, but actually a developmental shift in their language acquisition need. Mm-hmm. And since their brain isn't hungry for the new words as they're growing older, we have to create a need for this vocabulary. And one of the ways that we do it, Caitlin, is just using the words in context. Mm-hmm. And if they don't understand, we encourage them, well, if you didn't know what that word meant, you need to ask me. Mm-hmm. I'm happy to tell you the definition.
Right.
Or maybe someone in the community knows.
Right.
There's 22 people in this room. I bet somebody knows the definition of that word.
Right.
Who can tell them?
Right. It's interesting
that
you said that, because I'm just thinking about like those kids already speak school, right? That's the thing.
Right.
They're in it. They've been in that career for a little while now. So they don't have a necessary need to learn every single new thing that comes their way, but you're right. You do have to create that for them. So by using words that they don't know, hopefully they start to ask. The problem is when you're in a new career, pretty much every other word is a word you don't know.
Right.
Someone used the word sprint, a sprint of content. I'm sorry.
What?
Right. What do you think when you hear the word sprint?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Exactly. There's that one. There's also
oh wait, that was pin drop, right? Sprint, or is that MCI? Oh my god, I'm so old. I just said MCI.
Dude, it was Verizon.
It was something totally different. Okay, great.
Yeah. But the other thing I always think of is like the thing that I can't do, which is run fast. So, but like
I'm so unathletic. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. I mean, hey. Look at you learning new words. Adulting. There's your one new word for the week, right? This is it.
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay, so what is a sprint of
So
content?
a sprint of content is a bunch of content that's related to one topic, like all at once. So like
Oh.
or like you
Okay.
take you have 2 or 3 blogs and you're going to write promotional content for all those things, and you just yeah. So I was like, oh, I did not know. I think that was one of the first words I actually have written down in my list because it was used with me on the very first day of my new job, where I was like, I don't know this word. So
it's like a murder of crows.
yeah.
A sprint of content.
Sure. So I looked at my list the other day, and some of them are acronyms. Things like KPI.
Okay, what is that?
Key performance indicators. These are the things that let you know how your content is performing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
CRM. This is a fancy way of saying this is your customer relationship management software that you're going to use.
Okay.
UTM, which are these are tracking parameters that you put onto links so people can see where you are clicking from. So if you ever click on a link that's like in an email that's sent to you and it says like, here's the name of the link, 10 things that I can do now that I have new shoes. And then it'll say UTM email, UTM bottom, all that stuff. The UTM just says where you clicked. Some of them are words that I kind of knew-ish before getting into this field, based on, the podcast, based on social media stuff that I had seen, like reach or impressions, which, by the way, those are 2 social media terms for if you're concerned about whether or not your posts are performing. Impressions are the number of times your social media post shows up on anyone's screen. And reach, and reach is the number of times that a single person has seen it. So, for example, if you look at your post and it says your impressions are 50, then that means your post showed up on someone's screen 50 times, but it doesn't mean that 50 different people saw your post. It just means that it showed up 50 times somewhere. Could be the same person saw it 40 of those times. Okay.
I see.
Reach is how many different people saw it. So if your reach is 10, but your impressions are 50, then that means 10 different people saw it, but it got put on someone's screen 50 times.
Can I just say like how cool it is that I am learning about transitioning, but I am also learning all of these new words today. Like, this is cool for me. It's like double lesson.
Yay. That's the point. I'm trying to help people learn something, right? I'm not an educator anymore in the same sense. So I missed that part of it.
Don't say that.
I know. It's
so gross.
I'm still doing it. I'm still teaching.
Once an Aggie, always an Aggie. Once a teacher, always a teacher.
I was going to say, girl, I am not an Aggie. I am a buff. Okay.
Yes.
Persona.
As am I.
Persona is a no one. A no one. Persona is not a no one. Persona is another one I've learned, which is just, this is the person, the target audience, and you're going to create characteristics for what that person is like, their wants, their needs, the things they struggle with, etc. Some of these are words or terms that I'd literally never heard in my life, and these are some of my favorite things. CTR. This means click-through rate. This is when your email got opened and someone actually clicked on it. Also, did you know that someone could see if you're clicking in their email? Because they can. I did not know that you could actually see. Not only can you see how many individual people are clicking on your links in your emails, you can also see which link they clicked on. So if you have the same link in an email 3 times, you can see, they liked the top one, but they didn't like the bottom one. Or they liked the hyperlink, but they didn't like the button. It's wild what you can see.
That's interesting.
I know. A SWOT analysis, which this is a very common business term, but I did not know it because we don't call it this. But it's basically just assessing what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges and stuff are. So, right. So like when we would talk about this with kids, we would say like, what do you feel good at? What do you feel like?
Where's your growth edge?
Right. What do you feel like we need to work on? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, how and what can we do now? What's our next step moving forward to fix these concerns and position you in a place to set you up for success, right? That's what this
is. And how would we know that we have done
How
that?
would we know? Right. That's what your KPIs are. So that's what that's for, which we use that in education all the time. We just didn't have the same word for it. That's another thing that I've learned here is that so much of this stuff is oh yeah, I know what that is, but I didn't know that's what you guys called it. Right.
Right.
And your GTM strategy, which is your go-to-market strategy. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. This is how we're going to present ourselves in the market. This little
piggy went to market.
Right, exactly.
This little piggy
Did you know for the
home.
longest time I did not know what it meant for that piggy to go to market?
Oh, he did not have a little hand basket and he wasn't picking out apples.
Right. I thought that's what he was doing.
No, he was not coming back from the market.
Oh, that for a really long time. Until 3 or 4 years ago.
Whee! All the way home. Running away from the market.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway, keep going.
So anyway, I share all of this because looking back at these terms now, 2 years in, they all are very basic intro to marketing space terms. But for me, they were so foreign. I would literally, and because ADHD masking is a problem, I would just sit there and be like, I get it all. And meanwhile, I'm subtly typing in the background, click, click, clickety, 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 trying to just make sure I hear every word. Not maybe not even paying attention to what I'm being asked to do, but rather just trying to process the language and then going back to my boss and saying, to be clear, here are the tasks, right? Because I couldn't process the difference in language and the task at the same time. So knowing now these terms that are so basic has just really shown what a learner I have been over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So
and the fact that if these are basic terms,
right,
it's not something that someone would think to define in context.
Exactly that.
So this is just how people talk.
Right.
I am telling you, when I moved to the school I'm at now, the community is so intellectual and I love it, right? My reading life is richer. I feel my vocabulary growing. I am thinking on a different level. But I remember within the first 2 weeks, I had to tell my boss, I don't even know what you asked me, let alone the answer to the question.
Right. Can you say that?
You have to tell me what that word means.
Can you say that to me like I'm 5? Because I really am going back to being 5 and learning 8 words a day. This is...
Yeah. Now, luckily, I was recruited for this gig, so I knew they wanted me, so I could say hey, I'm really dumb. I don't know this word. I
swear I'm good at teaching math, and I swear I'm good at getting kids to think critically, but also please tell me what you just said. Right.
Well, and he was really just asking me if I had younger siblings.
Oh, man. That's kind of embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. I'm the oldest. Thanks.
Oh, man. Well, it showed me 300 words. That's crazy. I'm sure I missed a few somewhere, right? I'm sure I did.
Absolutely.
But I've come very far in these 2 years, but I also have so much more I'm learning all the time, right? If there's anything you learn in teaching, it's that you're always a student of learning, which is such a weird thing to say. You're a student of learning, right? It changes all the time. What's considered to be a best practice now is definitely not what was best practice 15, 20, 30, 100 years ago. So
sold the story. Sorry. Just advertising for another podcast.
So just knowing that if you are a transitioning teacher or if you're just looking to change jobs or careers, especially for teachers, the love of learning that you have is going to be so valuable when that transition does happen for you. But I encourage you to just look into your field, your new chosen field that you want to go into right now, and start defining those words. Because when you speak the language, it looks like you belong. And now,
so powerful. What a great statement.
Thank you. Right now, you don't belong.
And I don't even think it's you look like you belong. No. When you speak the language, you can belong.
You do belong. If you don't speak it, you don't belong. And that's the long and the short.
Well, and this is why we capitalize the word deaf, right? Because deaf culture has a language.
Right. It's a community, the deaf community.
Yes.
It's called that for a reason. And
I love this. I love this. When you speak the language, you belong.
Right.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yep. So we're going to, hopefully that was helpful, but we're going to take a break here and we'll come right back with our circle time. Okay, so we're back, and the reason that we're cackling is because Jenny just told me to capture that quote of when you speak the language you belong, so I typed it out, and then I put me as the when you speak the language
but not like,
you belong.
Not like
me.
dash Caitlin Kindred dash me. I'm quoting myself here.
I'm awesome.
That's awesome. All right, so let me talk about what I've been obsessed with. Last week was my birthday. It was phenomenal.
Yay!
Okay? It was so good. And the GK birthday celebration is very stirred up by me, right? Like I'm a firm believer that if your birthday is coming and you want people to make a big deal about it, you have to tell them that it's coming. My birthday is not a national holiday yet, so I have to remind people that January 9th is approaching. And this year I turned 40. Woo woo. It was so great. So I celebrated for 40 days leading up to my birthday. So I really had 41 days of birthday because my birthday was day 0, not day 1. So I counted down 40 days and then the 41st day was my birthday. But it was just such a great day. I was woken up by my family with confetti cannons,
Amazing.
which was amazing. Even better than that, John cleaned up the confetti.
Hey.
So like that was really cool.
Yeah.
I got some really great gifts that morning from my family. And I am going to say the gifts because they are funny.
Okay.
Normally I will not be like, oh, I got this, I got that, I got this. Like we even talked about this around the holidays saying like, we don't need to share exactly what we're getting. Like sometimes that doesn't feel great.
Right.
But these stories are worth it.
Okay.
I got a bottle of Chardonnay from Napa.
Ooh.
Because we are going in the spring. Yay, so excited. And I had mentioned to John, I really don't like Chardonnay. I'm going to have to develop a taste for it between now and March.
Yep, you are. Because
I know it's a major grape of the region. And I think the reason I don't like Chardonnay is because I've been drinking crap Chardonnay. So he did some research and found a great bottle from a great year and bought it for me and said, here, if you're going to start, you need to start with something that's good.
Yeah, totally right.
So that was really fun. Better than that, though, was he has pre-ordered for me a autographed copy of Becky Lynch's book.
Oh.
If you don't know who Becky Lynch is, it's because you don't watch professional wrestling.
This was something that had to be explained to me because I do not watch professional wrestling. However, you told
during
me
the height of lockdown,
and
right.
I now my memory is triggered, and I'm like, oh right, okay,
right,
yeah.
So during the height of lockdown, there were no sports, but guess what? Those rednecks who wrestle, they still got together. So we watched a lot of wrestling because we needed sports in our lives. And my favorite wrestler during this period was Big Time Bex.
Oh this is why Excel Olympics became a thing, right?
Yes,
because
exactly.
of your need for sports. Hilarious.
So, Big Time Bex wrote a book. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I do not know who she thinks her readership is, but I am excited.
Well, she's got one reader. And it's
yep.
you.
And it is my first time to read a memoir of a wrestler.
Yeah. Well,
it
cross
could
it off
be
your
the
bucket
only
list.
wrestler's memoir I read.
Right. I'm sure that it will be.
I can't imagine it's a very wide genre.
No. Maybe The Rock will write something.
Oh, I bet he already has.
Oh, maybe. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you'd call it? Like the eyebrow. I don't know. I can't. I like how I just tried to make my eyebrows go. My eyebrows are so Botox, they don't go anywhere. Why did I just try to make my eyebrows go?
Well, John can do it really well with both eyebrows. Like he can switch it back and forth.
Okay, switch. Okay.
Yeah. And Abby desperately wants to be able to do it. So every time she gets in the car, she like practices in the makeup mirror.
That's
and
hilarious.
She has even started taking pictures of herself and drawing lines across the picture digitally to see like if one eyebrow actually is raising higher than the other.
Oh my gosh, she is so your kid, because that's the most extra research. And like how like hyper focus is that? Like that is
right.
Oh man, that's a hyper fixation for sure.
What are your hobbies? I play flag football. And I study everything I can about Taylor Swift, and I practice raising my eyebrow like The Rock.
That was how I learned how to touch my tongue to my nose, is I would like force it. But now I can do it.
See? There you go. If you work hard at something.
I can do it. I just hit the...
What is it Doc Brown said? You can accomplish anything if you put your mind to it.
And push your tongue up to your nose a little bit.
To your nose.
It. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a great birthday. Happy 40th.
I sure did.
I did not
Thanks,
get you
it was
anything
fabulous.
Because I figured when we go to Napa, we're going to do the things there. So
yes, no, that is the present that we are going together, and that it is booked. I am so excited.
I know.
It's like check, it's happening.
Yes, exactly.
So,
it's actually going to happen. Okay, well, mine is not that cool, but I don't know if collagen eye patches actually work, but I know that I keep mine like in a cool place so that when I put them under my eyes, it's just cold and it feels good. And I
have mine in the fridge.
Yeah, and I'm just that extra that I walk around my neighborhood. When I go for my walk, I have my eye patches on. And I just keep them on because it's been cold in the mornings. So it feels even better because it's just like, and I honestly have no idea if they work. I don't know. I can't really see a difference when
they feel good. They work.
Feel good. That's with that. Yeah.
There you go.
So I've been that person, and they were put in my stocking, and by put in my stocking, I mean, I used my husband's credit card to fill my own stocking, and I put more eye patches in it. So he told me to do it. It's not like I did it without permission. He was like, if you're going to fill your own stocking, at least use my card. Sure. No problem. I can make that happen. But that's what I put in there. And I'm
we have a, common friend, mutual friend, I think is the word I'm supposed to use, not common, who for her 30th had a piñata full of face masks and eye patches. Yeah.
I love this.
It was the craziest 30th birthday party I had ever been to.
I'm here for it.
She had a popcorn machine and an outdoor movie screen, like the inflatable one. And we sat on the ground and watched a movie, ate popcorn, and did a piñata full of face masks.
Sounds perfect. I love
and
this
eye patches.
Party. I love this party.
And scrunchies.
Yeah. Perfect. Absolutely love it. Well, that sounds like a gem. You have any other ones?
Oh, yes. I actually have two.
Okay.
And both of them are short, so I'm not going to steal too much of your time. The first one is we have added a midday dose for Abigail. Mm-hmm. And she's completely on board, right? We are very open about discussing with Abby what kind of medication she wants to take and when she wants to take it. And so this is the first week back into school, first week taking a midday dose at school, trying to remember. So the other day, I look at her and I was like, did you take your meds? And she says, this pill is for remembering. How am I supposed to remember it?
Oh, it is the cruelest.
And it just made me think of all those memes. It's like the cure for ADHD is remembering to take a pill at the same time every day.
It's the cruelest thing on the planet that these meds are also so intensely regulated, because that means that we have to call. We have to remember to call to refill the prescription.
I know.
It is the most horrific irony of all the things that, how am I supposed to? No.
Well, and let me tell you this, Caitlin. How did I remember that she needed to take it? I
don't know.
I set an alarm on my phone.
Right.
Because I wouldn't remember either.
There's no remembering. There's no remembering.
Yeah, no.
No.
So that was hilarious. Okay, so the other thing is, on the first Sunday of 2024, my church opened with Don't Stop Believing by Journey, which I thought was hilarious. And then the pastor comes out to do the welcome, and he's like, welcome to 2024. This is the year that we will have Olympics in Paris. It is a leap year. It is an election year, so get excited for that. But most importantly, this is the year where we will finally get resolution on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh. Also, that all those things together feel like the apocalypse is nigh. Like, I'm not really one of those people, but like, oh, that feels like a lot in one year. But that's hilarious. And
yeah, I died. I was like, oh, right. That is the most important thing that's going to happen in 2024.
Right.
We will decide whether their relationship continues or if it ends. And then he says, either way, we get a new album.
This person knows their audience.
Yeah, it was great. I was like, that is hilarious.
That's amazing.
Welcome to 2024.
Did you see Taylor Lawrence, who has been a guest on our show, recently put up a reel that was talking about how nobody's watching TV.
Nobody watches TV
except for football. It's like
football.
It's the number one thing people are watching, and because the the football fan base has increased so much because of Taylor Swift. So I thought that was
Did
really
you see there was a infographic that I think she was referencing,
the one about all the with all the footballs on it?
Yes.
And then
and it's like the
Emmys,
20 most viewed things on TV in 2023.
Yep.
And all of them were football except for
The Oscars.
The Oscars
or the
and the Thanksgiving parade.
Wow, I missed that last part, but oh man. Yeah, it was all little footballs all across the thing. That was
all footballs and then an Oscar statue and a turkey.
Yeah, fascinating. Unbelievable. Also ironic that like the parade gets watched more than the actual football games that are happening, but I think that's because people are in the kitchen in the morning and they're eating in the afternoon.
Yes.
So.
Well, and in my family we have a rule. The turkey has to get in the oven before the Rockettes come on.
Oh, yes. I remember.
So they put the parade on because it's like a timer.
Yeah, exactly. I just put it on because I forced my husband to watch it because I like it. So here's my obsessions, my gems. I'm traveling for work and I'm going to see my bosses who I haven't seen in 6 months in person. And they make me laugh. One of my love languages is gift giving. I find little things that make me think of people and I have to get them. My boss, is one of them is she's a California girl, San Diego person, but she's a little bit older than us, and you wouldn't think it, but she's like obsessed with Snoop Dogg. She's like this little like tiny little person who's like so sweet and innocent and all these things, and makes mistakes of like what things she should say but they end up sounding inappropriate, like she doesn't, but it doesn't occur to her. Yeah. So, but she's obsessed with Snoop, and I found this Post-it notepad on Etsy that says "Scribbles for Shizzles," and it has his face. It has Snoop's face on it, and it made me laugh so hard. I was like, I have to have this for her. But the other thing is, sometimes it's a company of mostly women. There's one man, and he's our boss, and he's used to the conversation turning to female-oriented topics. It happens all the time. We've talked about this before. Fingernails. Yes,
he has asked to see your. I was just going to say he's asked to see your manicure that everyone is talking about.
Do I get to see the nails or what? Yeah. And we've talked about men that we find to be attractive, like celebrity men that we find to be attractive. We all know mine's Idris Elba. It will always and forever be Idris Elba. He's just yes. But he chimed in. He was like, "What are you guys doing? This is all wrong." The answer is Tom Selleck. Which is hilarious because that's also...
Oh my gosh, that also is a great quote.
Right.
This is all wrong. The answer is Tom Selleck.
What are you doing? You guys are all incorrect. The answer is Tom Selleck. And then this is even funnier to me because this is also... If my husband were to have a voice in this conversation, he would also say Tom Selleck. Like,
I mean, I would also say Tom Selleck.
I have to agree, right? I do. I mean, he was gorgeous in Friends
like,
20 years ago.
I was just going to say, you could like pick any era and I'll say Tom Selleck.
Yeah. He's beautiful now on Blue Bloods, if it's still on. I have no idea. But like, he's a beautiful man. So
Magnum. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I know what I'm about. So I was again on Etsy and I found a Tom Selleck t-shirt that I had to buy for my husband, which I did buy. But I also found this, which is a Tom Selleck baseball card from when he was Mr. Baseball. There's two of them.
Oh my god! Y'all, this mustache with the baseball pants.
I mean, for real, there's a reason why a lot of women like to just passively watch baseball.
So I
Or
have a
men too.
Nolan Ryan card like on my makeup mirror in my car.
Ooh.
I might need to get a Tom Selleck card to go with it.
Yeah, so I bought 2 sets. One is for my husband to go along with his t-shirt.
Yes.
And the other
And one for your
is
boss.
for my boss. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I'm going to bring them
That's
to
so
when
good.
when we see each other in a week or so.
That's so great.
So fun.
I love it.
But they just both made me laugh. So those are my gems.
I love it. Before we go, it has occurred to me that I never defined multiplicative association.
Oh, please do.
So when you have a multiplicative series with 3 or more factors, so that means you're multiplying 3 or more numbers together, you can do it in any order you like.
Right.
You don't have to do 3 times 5 times 40. You could do 3 times 40 times 5.
Mm-hmm.
When you change the count like that and you multiply in whatever order makes the most sense to you, that's called multiplicative association.
I like it. I had to teach my kids about multiplicative identity a lot.
This means that you can multiply the number by 1 and it will stay the same.
Exactly.
But you can also use different forms of the number 1.
Exactly.
Like 21 21st.
Exactly that. That's how I did it. I was using it in the context of, well, algebra, but also finding percentages.
Yes, there you go. Mm-hmm. So when you are looking to change the count,
nice,
using multiplicative association, make good choices.
And it's okay to be a student of new things and learn new words, because that's how you enter into communities. And long live Tom Selleck.
Amen.
Okay, bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.